What's up, guys? Good morning. It's Jonathan with One Big Impact. So today's video is actually going to be how to replace an over-the-range microwave. So first of all, a couple things that you want to take into consideration. If you have a stove or a glass stove or any type of stove below it, I want you to make sure you protect it. Now the best thing would probably be like some 2x4s to lay across it and take off the burners and everything like that. Or if you have a glass one, it could be maybe some 2x4s and also a little bit of plywood. I went a little bit redneck style. I didn't have either. Unfortunately, my 2x4s were really long and I didn't want to cut them down to waste them for this. So I used a baby gate, and actually it works pretty good. Just make sure that the glass surface, because mine is a glass surface, is protected. Now a couple things that you want to take into consideration when you're doing this is you're going to need most likely you're going to need a drill. And I'll explain basically two ways that they're usually mounted. Now they're usually mounted from a bracket, almost like a TV bracket if you've ever done a wall mount TV bracket. Behind the microwave is actually going to be a little bracket that hangs on the wall, anchored into the wall, and you just basically pick up the microwave and rest it in there. And then some of the other ones will actually be that, plus they will have toggles down through the top. Now I kind of searched around and I don't have toggles. Mine's actually just the wall mount bracket, and as you can see, it'll move around a little bit, and once I get up under there I can actually just lift it right off, which is actually kind of nice. Some of the other ones also may have inside here, they may have some mounting bolts and stuff like that, so just kind of look around. Get you a flashlight and go in through here and then through the sides. Sometimes they'll have bolts on the sides and stuff, but that's basically the only ways they're going to be mounted. It's actually a lot easier than you may think. A little side note, aside from just some basic tools like a drill, maybe a screwdriver, with the old one you might want to just cut off the cord. Your access to the electric is probably going to be above it or near it by the bottom. If it's above it, you may have to create an access hole with like a jigsaw or something like that. But they are heavy, okay? And not only are they heavy, it's just an awkward position. So you're lifting up, 50, 60, 80 pounds, depending on what it is, or more. And it's not just that you're lifting it up and pushing it forward. So I fully recommend when you're mounting or dismounting it, especially if you have a glass stove below it, to get a second individual, because you don't want to put extra strain on your back. I unfortunately don't have that option. Nobody's going to be here to help me, so I'm going to do it all alone. But another thing is, if you do it alone, you could get like a 2x4 and a car jack, assuming that you have 2x4s across, because if you put a car jack on the glass, it's going to snap through it. That's kind of obvious. But if you put some 2x4s and then you put your car jack on there and actually just kind of jack it up and then get it low enough to kind of grab it off and take it off, it would be the easiest, safest way. So I'm going to go ahead and take it off, and we're going to look at what the wall looks like. So let's check it out. Okay, so another side tip, up under here where the filters are, sometimes with this one actually we're going to have a locking mechanism that's not going to let it pull down. So up under here, let me show you. Come here. Up under here, you're going to see, right when you pull those out, you're going to see this little screw here. You see that little screw? That's actually stopping it from being able to pull off of there. So let's go ahead and take that out and see what else we got from there. And where'd my drill go? There it is. Best drill ever. I'll put it in the links in the description below. So you see, if you can see, it starts to drop it down. There's a little bit of leeway. Make sure you're holding on to it, okay? And I might be able to get it down like that, but I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side as well. Be ready though, because you really don't know if this sucker is going to come down right away. And mine actually is. Okay. So that's it. All right. Get the damn garbage can out of my way. And if I had to guess, I'd say it's not super heavy, but probably 60, 70 pounds. Not bad, but it's awkward. That's what's weird about it. I will also say don't wear clothes that you don't want to mess up, because you can have probably tons of nasty ass grease all up inside there. Now if you come take a look, this is not the hook panel, and you really don't know what you're dealing with until you get it off. So you can see here, it sits in this ledge, and then those screws that I had down here, the screws that I had down here that I just had to release, shoot all the way up into there, if you can see. And that's actually what releases it. So if you come over here, you see the screw right there? That's what you were unscrewing at the bottom. So now, if you're switching panels, or if you're switching wall mounts, hopefully cross your fingers that they line up, that they're the same mount. If they're not, you're going to have to probably take this mount off and use the other one. Side note of something that I think is really important. Remember I told you about the access for the electric. So you have the electric, the 110 outlet above it. You see that, right? So you're going to have a piece of wood between the two. Now, if you look, there is a hole for the access right there. But that access hole is only big enough for the actual cord. It's not going to be big enough for the actual end. So while your microwave is out, I wholly suggest this unless you want your wife or whoever to be really pissed because you stabbed a hole through the top of your microwave and you got to go get a new one. I would suggest while you have that down, go from the top or the bottom or whichever way you want. I'm going to use a jigsaw because that's the tool I have, but you might have a tool that will work better for it. But I'm going to go ahead and open that up. So I'm just going to make it big enough to where an end, not the old end, the new end, because you have no idea. So open the box and kind of measure it and give it an eyeball. And then go ahead and give it a good rounding out so you can pop that straight through before you have the microwave in your way and you make a mess or you end up hurting the new item. Okay, so now I actually thought about it for a few extra seconds. By the way, don't do what I just did. Don't put your hand on this while holding your finger on the trigger. If that spade bit gets a hold of you, it's going to make a mess of your hand. But I would use actually a spade bit. And the reason I say that is because it's going to be kind of hard to get at angles with the jigsaw. And after thinking about it a little bit further, it seems like it will be best. Now, it'll probably be best also to go from the top because you're not going to have dust in your face. So remember, look at that outlet. And go ahead and come from the top. And hopefully you can see what's going on here. But right about there. And clearly that's not going to be strong enough. I don't know what I got that set on. Let's see here. Got it set on something really loud, of course. Okay, so you may have to, get this out of my way a little bit. You may have to do like multiple holes. If I had to guess, now with anybody, it's probably going to be about 1.5 inch spade would probably work fine for you. But I don't have one, so I only have inch. For some reason, I cannot hold on to a full set. So I'm going to get in there and just kind of make a mess. To be able to get my inside, stand in there for a second. Don't stand on the glass top, obviously. But after that, you're going to go ahead and unbox the new one and get it slapped up there, and hopefully cross your fingers that the mount is the same. Okay, so when you're putting on your new bracket, the reason my old bracket wasn't lining up is because this microwave is actually a little bit taller. So the bracket was a little bit too high up on the wall. Therefore, it was running into this. Now, I could have used the same bracket if I just wanted to rebuild the bottom of this or take it out. But did I want to do that? Not really. But the reason I say that is because there's a couple things that you need to factor in. When something goes in straight, it's fine. You can use it snug and everything like that. But you need to make sure whatever the distance is on the back of the microwave from the bottom to the top. So I got 16.5 right there, right? So if I did 16.5, which clearly that's not even close. So it was about 1.5 inches off. If I did 16.5, that would be fine if the microwave was going in and sitting on a ledge, right? But it's not. You're going to be going in at an angle with your microwave. So your microwave is actually going to be slightly taller. So I would say at least 1/4 inch lower than it needs to be, because you have to go in and it's going to be taller, especially if you have something above it. If you don't have something above it, don't worry about it. It's fine. Whatever measurement's fine. But if you have to tilt in 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, kind of depends. You could play with the measurement a little bit. You could try 1/4 inch. It will leave a small little gap up here, which is perfectly fine. Otherwise, there's no way you're going to be able to click it into that, because it's got to go on this bracket, okay? It's got to go on that bracket, and you have to lift it in and tilt it onto the bracket. If your measurement is exact, it's just not going to work, okay? When you're taking your measurements, make sure you're bringing it from down. A lot of people will say, well, I want to go like this. You don't want to do that, because the curvature is going to mess you up. You're going to end up with an off measurement, and this needs to be pretty damn precise. So measure down from wherever you're doing, if it's a ceiling, whatever, and measure 3 times. One on the left, one in the middle, one on the right. So remember, whatever your measurement is, it's going to be 16 3/4, because I'm going 1/4 inch extra. That's going to be where the bottom of my bracket sits. Now, the reason I wanted to mention something, okay? So wherever you were anchored in with your lasts, assuming you're replacing an old unit, make sure that you are kind of guiding. So I see a hole here where I got a stud and a hole here where I got a stud. These brackets are designed with all of these holes to hit a stud wherever you can, okay? The most possible options. If you don't have that and you're putting in a new unit, that's fine. Go ahead and use a stud finder. I mean, it's going to be hidden. If you want to kind of just search around for a stud, that's fine. You can grab like a drywall screw, and this guy, and just kind of knock around. You can also knock on the wall. That's where it's going to be hard. You can hear it, but that can be deceiving. Stud finder is going to be ideal. I'll put that in the link in the description below. Okay, a couple quick things that I wanted to show you. Obviously, you're going to have some anchor points. So you got the left side, the right side, and then the middle that you're going to be anchoring to. Now with this specific setup, you're going to end up with toggles. So your toggles are going to, I had one set up, I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. Your toggles are going to be this. So you might see this, and a lot of people will call it a molly. That was the word I was looking for earlier. So it folds like that. You drill a hole in the wall, as you can see. The hole is here, and then you shove it through, and then it expands. Okay? Which, crap. How the hell am I going to get that out of there now? Shit. Let's pretend that did not just happen. Damn, why did I just stick it in there? Okay, so Do not stick the molly in the wall until you're ready. Now I have to go get another freaking molly. Damn it. Okay. So, regardless, okay? So you're going to go ahead. I can't believe I just did that. You're going to stick your molly in the wall. And you may be thinking, how do I do that without creating an issue? Okay. So you put your screw in after you drill your hole in the wall. And then you put your molly on the back side. Then you slap it on the wall with your two mollies going into the wall. Then you tighten it. Now the thing I did wrong, I may be able to save it. I may be able to hold on to that somehow while still getting it through there. But the next thing that I wanted you to think about is, now this one specifically, I'm going to show you real quick, see if I can give you a better idea of what I'm talking about. Right here we're going to have some holes that are actually going to be anchoring it to the top, which is going to be up in through here. That's going to be holding the top, and then we got that back rail, that back mount that I was talking about. So the best way to be able to do this is to measure from the back. Make sure nothing in the back is going to be affecting it. If there's like a board or anything, if it sits flush up against the wall, you're going to measure it from the back of this unit. Make sure there's nothing that sticks out, protrudes any further. I got something that may stick out, looks like right here, about this piece here sticks out about 1/4 inch. So we'll start right about there. And then we'll go to center. Okay, center of that hole, about 1/4 inch over right there. Center of the hole is going to be like, let me do it on this side because I can't really see from that side. We're talking about 9 3/8, just past 1/4. So that's going to be center of the hole. So from the back, from the back of the wall, meaning up inside here, 9 3/8 inches out, I am going to drill a hole. Now, you also have to figure out your side-to-side measurement, okay? So your side-to-side measurement is going to be the same exact thing, but remember, this is not going to fill the entire void, okay? So if your unit is 29 and just shy of 30, and then my gap is 30 1/4, it's not going to be a perfect science, okay? So you're going to come over, and I would just add just a little bit, okay? So it looks like 3 1/8 would be a good range for a center point, okay? So 3 1/8. So you come over and just add just a little bit. It depends on, you would technically want to split the difference. So if you were a 1/2 inch difference, you would say 1/4 over, 1/4 over, and make sure you have your range there. Now let's drill some holes and get started. Okay, so real quick, actually, to go ahead and get these toggles. These toggles are actually going to hold your bracket on. You're going to have a toggle on the left-hand side and a toggle on the right-hand side, and you're going to have a center mounting bolt. So in the side, you're going to go ahead and drill a pilot hole with this guy here. You see that right there? Okay, so we got everything in place. I went ahead and drilled the hole, and I'll be completely honest, as far as like measuring left to right, front to back, I'm not usually the most accurate. I'm kind of a DIY guy. I'm not really a carpenter necessarily. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy over here. And like I said before, we're going to put the cord up in there. What the hell's falling on me and just cut my leg? So we're going to put the cord up through there. And ideally, if you had somebody else here, it would be nice because they could just pull it as you go up. But I will seemingly have to do that myself. I got the bracket there. Okay, so I'm going to lift up kind of at an angle, pop it in. I have a screw ready to pop down through the top, and go ahead and just finger tighten it to get it to stay in place. In theory, cross your fingers. So we're gonna go up. I believe we're on the ledge there. Okay. Let's see where we're at versus where we need to be. And really, you only got to get this one side to hold up. Actually, we're really pretty close. Let's see. The back is holding it up and forward a little bit more than I had anticipated. So let's see. Finger tighten it, like I was saying before. Get it to hold there. Now, ideally, I would have had this ready with the other tip on it, but that would be a perfect world, and I don't have 2 drills. So, noticed kind of sucks it up there, and we got this drill will be in the link in the description below. We're good. Now I don't know if this side is going to line up yet or not, but we're about to find out. It should be technically a little bit off as well. But, so, yep, exact same distance. I told you. It's a little bit of, and fortunately, with my situation, need that. Let's put that there. I have the awesome ability, because I have a wood base here, to be able to go from. Now, what you want to do is kind of put that in there and get an idea of where you're at and where you kind of need to be. You can also put a little light down through the top. It's a little bit harder on this side because I'm having to do it with less gap. Okay, so it's up and forward to the same side. Here, can you help me hold this real quick? If I can get it set in place.
Oh God, that looks nice.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
It's done. I'm just kidding.
Wow. Do you like it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a microwave. I don't know how
Beautiful.
excited you want me to do it with a microwave, but...
Well, come on. This is the built-in microwave. We need it. Oh my God, we have a light again.
You can't vent it yet, because it's just going to vent in here. There's no vent to the... from here to there. It looks like there was a vent up there. They just closed it off.
No, we had a vent.
There was not a vent here. The vent goes from here to the top of the roof, Mom. That's what I'm explaining.
No,
Therefore-
we always, the last one, I always used it.
Yeah, but it didn't go anywhere.
No, it don't go anywhere, but use it. Try it on.
Yeah, you can't. There's dust right here. It's going to blow all over your face.
Oh. But we always used it.
Right, but it's just going to blow out right here. What's the point? A vent, to vent a microwave, you would go right above here,
Oh, but they
cut a
didn't
hole in
do
the
that.
microwave, and then it would go out that roof.
But they didn't
There's a
do
hole
that.
there, they just covered it with something. Meaning there's a vent there, you just have to connect to it.
Okay, but they didn't do that.
That's done. You just got to put the plate in there.
What? Are you serious?
No more projects. Merry Christmas.
Oh.
Okay.
Now what do
clean
I
up my
do with
stuff.
all this, son?
I'll clean it up. I gotta go.
No, you'll do that?
Yeah, go.
Okay. Wow. So you can use it now?
Okay guys, so it was a bit of an adventure. I apologize if the video is really long. I'll try to fast forward when I edit and get rid of some of that stuff, which is actually relevant for me to say right now. But as you can see, the microwave is fully installed. But a couple tips that I wanted to just throw in there is, first of all, really all you're gonna need is like a drill, and that's it. And I'll put that in the description below. Besides that, it would just be basic stuff like a pencil, a basic tape measure, or even like a ruler or something, because it's not very long measurements. But besides that, that bracket that holds you back on the back, if you end up not being super level up top, which it's not as perfect as it could probably be, we could probably level it a little bit more, but to be honest, it looks out fine. If you crank down on those too much to try to pull the microwave up, the bolts up top, it'll end up actually coming out of that bracket. So it'll kind of lift itself out of the bracket, and you don't want that to happen. So it would be better probably to lean a little bit forward rather than not to be supported on the bracket, because then if you do that, it's basically just hanging from those two little bolts, and you're going to end up probably not necessarily ripping out of the wood on top. I mean, you might, but the important thing is that you're going to put too much stress on those two little holes that are actually holding it, and you could end up stripping out the holes by swinging back and forth over the years, and it ends up just dropping out, potentially hurting somebody, or more importantly, I mean, there goes your whole microwave and stovetop and everything, because it's just going to drop out. So be careful about that. The other thing that I wanted to mention is, if you have like a pocket level or something like that, like a torpedo level, it'd probably be a good idea to either pop it on the top and then also inside, maybe right here. What I actually used, instead of going to do that, I actually used a clean drill bit and put it on there and just seeing if it was rolling back and forth and stuff to see if I was level. Because honestly, if it's not too bad, you're probably going to be okay. But that's about it. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to put them in the comment section below. I hope you guys like our video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. So I got the approval. My mom likes it. Your mom should like it. Your wife should like it. Whoever you're doing it for. So if you do have any questions, make sure you ask. Thank you so much. This microwave and the drill and tape measure that I personally use will be in the link in the description below. Peace, guys.